Hi, welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show. Tonight, something slightly different. Modern Britain. Is it really a land fit for our heroes? Or have we lost our way? Celebrating, obviously, Victory in Europe Day this week. Magnificent yesterday in London. But is this a land fit for heroes? And if it isn't, where have we gone wrong? I think we're too madly into consumerism. I think the old Oscar Wilde quote, which is, "We know the price of everything, but the value of nothing." So I'm asking a question today. Have we lost our way? And I want your opinion. And would today's generation be willing to fight for the future like our heroes did? Was it all worth it? What's your opinion? And I want it now, please. This is a wide-ranging one. This is not just picking on certain politicians. It's about us having a philosophical look at what's wrong with modern Britain. I don't think people would necessarily fight anymore. I certainly don't think they'd go into a war where they thought the chances were they weren't going to come back, which was what happened, especially in the First World War and in the Second World War, where communication was even better. They must have known that. Not just the guys who went up in those aeroplanes, knowing they only had a limited amount of missions, but all the rest of the ordinary boys who went to fight. And what did they fight for? Now we've got a country which is all me, isn't it? It's celebrity obsessed. This whole nation is all about some idiot who's on Love Island. I've got to say, I'm quite proud. I've never watched it. On Love Island or some sort of celebrity programs. I'm delighted to see things like Britain's Got Talent is now dying on its backside. We need something more than that. We need to lift ourselves. We need to elevate ourselves, don't we? I don't mean everything has to be high art. Everything has to be Shakespeare or Noel Coward or Oscar Wilde. But aren't we a bit of a shit country in certain ways now, culturally? Yeah? And politically. We've got these two tribes fighting each other. Labour versus the Tories, or Labour now versus Reform. Do you believe any of them can actually make it better? We've got these culture wars, yeah, where what you are or what you do in bed or what color your skin is or what religion you are seems to be more important than being British. Have we lost our identity? What is it to be British? I thought it was always things about, being tolerant, our sense of fair play, our sense of charity. But has that all gone now? I don't know. My illustration today, if you can see it, one side you've got the soldiers marching in uniform. On the other side, you've got everybody on their mobile phones. It's kind of, we've got more ways to communicate than ever, but it seems to me we communicate less. So let's have a different kind of debate. And do you believe there's any politician? I mean, Starmer's, as we said in the broadcast earlier today, he's obviously going to do a U-turn on certain things but only to save his own skin. He's going to do the U-turn on the winter fuel and a few other things, but not for the good of the country. For the good of the country, he would be securing our borders. He seems reluctant to do that. And I was watching Dad's Army the other night on Dave or one of those sorts of channels. And it made me think the serious part of Dad's Army, how come all these old fellas who didn't go to war, and indeed women as well with the land army, who worked in the fields, how come they did all that and Hitler didn't win? Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler? Well, he didn't get in, did he? And then I watched the Winston Churchill film last night. He didn't win. We won. Why? Because we had a collective spirit. We had a sense of identity. We were patriotic, if you want to call it that. We knew what Britain was. We knew what it was to be British. We were still English, Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish. We were all those things. But we were British. We had a sense of identity round that flag. That's all gone. Can we get it back? So I don't even know where this program is going to go today. I mean, normally when we I'm going to slag off Starmer, I kind of got a vague plan in my head. As you know, I don't script anything anyway. But tonight I haven't, and I just want to. And I was saying earlier, I've got this thing I want to talk about tonight, and I'm not even sure whether to do it or not. I don't know how people will pick up on it. But it seems to me that we need to rediscover our sense of British identity before it is lost forever. Are you with me? Did our World War II heroes fight and die for this version of modern Britain? All of us texted. They wanted a land fit for heroes. I think they've got a land full of zeros, haven't they? It's a land obsessed with celebrity, consumerism, and self-interest. Have we lost our sense of community? I think when you go out in the country, I think I've talked about this before. I lived in the country for the best part of 30 years. And when I go to my daughter's house now in a small village, I love the sense that people know each other and people say hello to you when you're walking the dog. I hate the way that doesn't happen in cities. I mean, the worst place in the world for that is London. Go on the tube, everyone looks at the floor. No one looks at each other. No one communicates. Why? And doesn't that then turn into aggression and violence and fear? And the fear of crime is often as bad as the crime itself. We've lost ourselves. What happened to British pride? What happened to the sense of community? I come from Radford in Coventry, and I was proud. I still am proud of that in a way, how I've pulled myself up, I guess. Failed miserably recently, but you know where I'm coming from. Are you proud of your community? I mean, football still unites us in this way. I mean, Coventry at the moment is going crazy because we've got through almost now to the playoffs. Well, we're in the semi-finals, aren't we? And I think we could probably get to Wembley. But football can do that. It can unite a community. Look how it happens. I mean, I'm not really interested in international football, but if we get somewhere, then I'm there. I'm there with everybody else. Same with the cricket. But maybe it's only in sport that we've still got a national identity and a pride. Why haven't we got it in everything else? In our great literature, Shakespeare used to be in our great TV, our great music. We have got some of the best music in the world is created in this small island. We punch way above our weight. I mean, obviously America is where it's at, but look at what we've done. Look at the bands, even the ones you don't like. We've got a brilliant music scene, a brilliant cultural scene, but we don't seem to have any pride in it. I tell you what's gone wrong with the arts. The arts has become run by like social services, social workers. When I was somebody was asking me about this the other day about saying, why don't you write plays anymore? Well, because it became like social work. You had to fit all the boxes, tick all the boxes. It was like woke. The arts were more woke than anyone else before everyone else. So I was writing plays that were nihilistic, plays that were trying to, I thought of them as punk. We were trying to change the world. But increasingly, you had to say, yes, we've got a lesbian in it, or yes, it's about this issue, it's about that issue. Why? Why can't it just be about the human condition, warts and all? How did the left take over the arts? It's crazy. If Shakespeare was writing today, he wouldn't get anywhere. They'd ban him. What? You got a Jewish person who's a bit tight with money? No, banned. What? A black guy who gets off with a white woman and then all this happens? No way. A young bloke who's a bit, neurodiverse in the head, kills his uncle, wants to kill his mum because he thinks they've killed his dad. No. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You see what I'm getting at? And where's that sense of community? Today, where was I today? I was walking back from the cafe. And, the road that we live in is all right? And a guy was moving his dustbin in. And as I walked past, I saw him pull it back in, close his gate. And right next to where his dustbin was and where the gate was, somebody, not him, obviously, had thrown a plastic bottle on the floor and obviously stamped on it. Or maybe the dustbin men, or should I say ladies, dropped it. I don't know. But he didn't pick it up. He didn't pick it up, even though it was outside his gaff. I remember my mum used to cardinal red, remember that polish? And do the front of her step at least once a week. All the shops in Bora Road, right, which now looks like the Lebanon, by the way. But, there in Heathcote Street, everybody looked after their piece of concrete in front of the shops, their slabs. Now, down where I'm living at the moment, we've had older ladies falling over the slabs because no one's repaired them. And all these shutters on shops, it makes us look like we're living in Belfast during the Troubles. The local opticians has even got shutters. Why? There's nothing in there to nick or vandalise. Do you understand? Why have we allowed this to happen? Where's our personal responsibility? Same with our kids. Why aren't we bringing them up properly? Where have we gone wrong? Or maybe you think we haven't. This is the Jon Gaunt podcast. If you want to join in, put your comments on the side. I'm going to come to them in a couple of moments. And if you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to make these things carry on, feel free. Send me a donation. You can buy me a coffee, buy me a beer, www.buymeabeer, buymeacoffee is where you've got to go to, .com/Jon Gaunt. Although you could also donate while the show's on via YouTube. Just click on the heart or the like button and it will show you all the different ways you can do it. Anything you want to give, it all helps. And I don't think I'm begging. I think what I'm doing, I think I'm being a Brit. I'm being entrepreneurial. I've got this off the ground from nothing. I've had some real help. A couple of guys. Guy gave me the lights. Adam, what a man. I don't know him. He's just been a listener. And he said, I've got some lights, Gaunty. It'll make your show look better. And look how much better it looks now. And my green screen. The missus bought me that. People want to help. People want to be involved if they think you're doing some good. And I think I am, because I think we're having conversations that you won't get anywhere else. You won't get on the BBC. But where's this sense of community? 5 people have pressed the like button. Come on, let's have some more of that. The algorithm loves being tickled. And the way you tickle the algorithm is by pressing the like button. Are you with me? Do you understand where I'm coming from in this one? This one is about politics with a small p. It's the stuff of life. But in a way, it's more important than just talking about Starmer or just talking about Kemi Badenoch or even talking about Farage. I like the way Farage is saying the only flags you're going to fly on public buildings from now on is the Union flag or the flag of St. George or the Scottish flag. That's the right attitude. Our fire station in Leamington, they're always flying the bloody rainbow flag. Why? I don't care that there's some gay and lesbian firefighters. I think that's great. But they're not more important than the hetero ones, are they? Aren't we equal but different? But all of this culture war has got in the way of that. We've lost sight of who we are. We're British. And we're one of the greatest countries in the world. Why do you think every Tom, Dick, Abdul, Sid, Mohammed, Bert wants to get in this country? Because it's a wonderful country with a rich culture, a rich heritage, and rich traditions, as we proved yesterday. And we're also diverse. People have come in and made it better. Look at our food offering now. It's a great place to live, work, and bring up your children, even despite our politicians. But how do we make it better? Have we created a land for heroes or zeros? And if it is zeros, how do we bring it back? Let's go to some of your comments, please. Let's start with Magpie. Hello, Mr. Gaunt. Thank you, Magpie, on YouTube. Stephen Taylor says there's too many snowflakes today, John. Not a chance that they would fight for this country. Well, yeah, you can call them snowflakes, but if they don't feel invested in the country, why would they fight? What would they be fighting for? There was a brilliant bit last night. I think this is where all these ideas have come from. That Winston Churchill film, by the way, Gary Oldman is out of this world in that. As Churchill, but he's on a tube. He's on a tube and he says to these people, we're going to fight them. He's obviously practicing for his big, we're going to fight them on the beaches speech, I guess. And he said, would we fight them in the street? Would we do this? And suddenly this little voice pipes up and says, yes, we would. That's a little girl. She's about 7 or 8. And she's basically saying, They ain't taken over our country. And it's just this moment, and there's a pause, and then he ambles over to her. And it's kind of like, yes, that's what pride is. That's what pride is. Also, when you look up, like yesterday, the red arrows, isn't it? When all those times you've been to Cornwall, or you've been to Tenby, or you've been to some seaside resort, and the red arrows, the Royal Show, the red arrows fly over, and it's that jaw-dropping, ice cream melting down your wrist moment. It fills your heart with pride. Look how magnificent that is. How magnificent it is. And we're the best at it. I mean, I think that's why the Falklands War was so important in bringing back some pride and unity. You can argue till you're blue in the face about, she shouldn't have done the Belgrano and she only did it to save her career and the rest of it. But I'll tell you what it did do, and I was about 19 at the time, it brought us together as a nation, didn't it? Much more than Iraq. Iran's the next one. Iraq or Afghan, don't you think? There was something about it. But maybe they were different times. I don't know. Is it? And then I thought, is this just the ranting of a 64-year-old fella? And I'm just totally out of step with the modern world. Yeah? Tell me if you think I am. Reforming the UK, says Roy Brownlow. You think that's the way to do it, do you? Fair enough. Let's move on. Who we got next? Graeme Hatton. John, there was a time when I would have proudly taken up arms against any foreign invader and, if necessary, laid down my life. But now I'm ashamed. I better put this on the screen. Now I'm ashamed of what this country has become. A land fit for heroes, not on your Nelly. It's a disgrace. I share a lot of those views, Graeme. But how do we get it back? Is it too late? Can we get it back? We've always punched above our weight. That's why the snooty French always get right on my nerves. If it wasn't for us, they'd be goose stepping down the Champs-Élysées, wouldn't they? They would. We saved them. But there's this attitude to us. That's why we never really got on with the EU. It was more than just the channel. That's why they're stitching us up now. Or have I got that wrong? Roy Brownlow seems to be agreeing with me in a way, because he says we owned our country then. It's on Facebook. I don't know. Don't we still own it? We had free speech then before the gag. We had comedy then, that's for sure. Yeah, maybe it is free speech. Maybe it is the fact that we've got a situation now where you don't feel you can express yourself. I don't know. Is that what it is? I really am interested in what you think about this, because I think once a country loses its pride, yeah, I'm not talking about being mad nationalistic and everything we do is fantastic, being fascist. I'm not talking about that, but having a pride. I mean, one of my secret obsessions is a love country file. No one is doing all the woke nonsense. Oh, here's a girl in a wheelchair pretending she's a shepherdess, right? None of that. What I mean is when they show the countryside. What a beautiful country we live in. I know I love traveling. I love going to other countries. But our country is magnificent. As I say, we've punched above our weight in so many different ways. Car design, Coventry, my home city, Coventry Poly, Coventry Uni, whatever you want to call it. The greatest car designers generally have all trained there. Look at the magnificent motors we've produced. Look at what we are. Look at our engineers. Look at our inventions. Look at what the Scottish have particularly added to that. We invented the bloody internet. Why aren't we more pride? Why haven't we got more pride in ourselves? And it doesn't have to manifest itself as a sort of forelock tugging to the royal family. I mean, if you don't like the royal family, fair enough. This isn't me saying wrap yourself in the flag and everything's cozy. But I am concerned that we're just no longer the country that we were. Denise Deacon, I must just say, Denise, thank you so much. I know you made a donation on my podcast earlier. Thank you very much indeed. If you'd like to do that, She just did it on the internet. It was easy enough, wasn't it, Denise? She says, I feel that the last 25 years or so of government have trodden all over the graves. Let me just put this on the screen. This is a good one. All over the graves of our heroes who fought for this country. Until we have a government that believes our country, believes in our country and its people, and believes they're great, nobody else will think it's worth fighting for. I think that's a nice way of expressing it, Denise. I think you're right. I mean, for example, the SAS, they're now, most of them are retired. They're now going to be done, aren't they? Did they use too much violence? It's just nonsense. A copper, you know, that thug who got blown away by the police, that guy went through court, went through hell. They named him, I'm talking about the police officer, right? And now he got acquitted. He took the jury of ordinary Brits less than 3 hours to throw it out and say Chris Cabba was a gangster. In a way, it's a good job he's been blown away. I mean, I wasn't losing any sleep over it. What are they doing now, though? Some independent poxy police complaints division or something is now investigating him again, and he might lose his job. He pulled his gun and killed somebody. He didn't want to. He did it because this nutcase was driving all over the road in a stolen BMW that was involved in a gun crime the night before, and he thought he was going to run himself over, run the coppers over. I'd have blown the bastard away as well. I'm not advocating police violence. Don't think I am. But I am saying let's keep things in perspective. And I always think this way when people, I mean, if you've ever been to Aldershot or Catterick, places like that, when people slag off the squaddies, they wouldn't slag them off if Hitler was at the doorstep or suddenly Iran. Oh, no. They'd want these boys with their toxic masculinity to protect them, wouldn't they? This is where it's all just so nonsensical. We have let the freeloaders, the freaks, and indeed, it's got to be said, some foreigners dictate to us what our country should be. Our country should represent the decent, silent, I'm not being that silent tonight, but the decent, silent majority. Are you with me or against me? Come on. Steve, evening, John, back again. I'd fight for Britain until my last breath because we are still a great country. Well, I recognise that and I respect that, Steve. And thank you very much indeed. Nigel Gordon says, we are a meal ticket. That's all. Nigel, he loves blaming everything on the immigrants. Some of the immigrants are more patriotic than the people who've been here for years, Nigel. What do you say to that? Because I think it's true. I think we've been downtrodden by the politically correct elite. We call them the woke now, don't we? They try to tell us what our culture is. The classic is Keir Starmer. Not really trying to have a go at him tonight, but Keir Starmer the other week when he tried to tell us what the flag of St. George was about and that he was a real football fan and all the rest of it. But only a few weeks previously, he'd called us far-right thugs for daring to complain and protest when that madman killed 3 little girls. This is what we're up against. I mean, we should have realised it was Starmer. He was the director of public prosecutions. Probably the most woke organisation in Britain. He's now the Prime Minister. So he's warped, idealistic. Everyone's lovely, really. That's his kind of view of the world, isn't it? Some people just had a bad childhood, but they're lovely, really. No, most people are cretins. Many people are horrid. And if they are horrid, we've got to control them. And if that means locking them up, we've got to lock them up. And you shouldn't be getting out of prison just because you've done your 5 years of a 10-year stretch. 10 years must mean 10. Life must mean life. How ridiculous that the rapists, the gang rapists in those northern towns, I keep calling it, it's not northern towns, it's happened in Coventry as well, and in Aylesbury and High Wycombe and places like that. How come they're out of prison? Some of them didn't even go to prison. How come we got 13,000 foreigners in our jails? Why are we not protesting against that? What is it we've done? It seems to me as we've stamped out smoking and other elements that weren't good for us, yeah, the whole idea of being a man, what is a man nowadays, has been fundamentally attacked as well. Successive governments have closed down our pubs, and you've got to ask, why have they done that? Well, because the pubs were the village halls or the cathedrals, the churches, where we normal people got together and were able to slag off the knobs who thought they were in control of us. Are you with me on this? It just seems as if they've suppressed and oppressed us. And the worst thing is, we've kind of let them do it. There's been a retrospective thing about Benny Hill. Evidently, Benny Hill's having a resurgence. I didn't like all this stuff, but I thought he was relatively funny. I don't think he was sexist or anything like that, only in the sense, so's a saucy postcard. His career was wrecked on the altar of wokeness, even before it was invented. It's just things like that. It's things like you can't make a joke. Or it's like today I've been arguing with idiots on X about saying, they should give them tents. I don't see why asylum or economic migrants, whatever they are, they're all illegal. They shouldn't be in our country. I don't see why they can't live in army tents while we quickly assess them. It is wrong that we haven't assessed them quick enough, and successive governments have done this. But suddenly the lefties are on me thinking that I'm saying it's all the refugees' fault. I'm not saying that at all. I want to cure the problem. But you're never going to cure it while you're letting 500 in. And then today there's been a story on GB News about the French have been giving them life jackets, which, I agree with because I don't want people to die in the channel. However, the French have then been collecting them back and then giving them back to the people smugglers. That's like a green light. On you come. Where? On you come. Hey, up this way. Come to the land of milk and honey. Listen, a British passport is something that you should be really valuable. And to get British citizenship and to live and work and bring your kids up here where you get brilliant education. Like today, I nipped into the chemist to pick up something. It's fantastic. I don't think there's another country in the world where you get such good education. You can drink largely the water. You can get your drugs, yeah? Your prescription drugs. You don't have to think or play Russian roulette with your health. We're a fantastic country. And where basically things are pretty fair and tolerant. There are obviously miscarriages of justice like there is in any society. But these men here, they went and fought for a land fit for heroes. Look at what we've got. And I'm ever so sorry to say this. We're complicit with our mobile phones. And that whole idea that Oscar Wilde summed up nearly 100 years ago when he said, we know the price of everything. I think Maggie Thatcher used it once as well. But we don't know the value. And that's so true. It's like bringing up kids, isn't it? Giving them an electronic toy to play with rather than talking to them or reading them a story at night. That's going to come back and haunt you. It's what you put in is what you get out. But we seem to have lost that. So I'm surprised no one said it's Americanization, because that used to be the thing, didn't it? Oh, we're getting too much like America, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it is. But at least the Americans are still proud of their flag. And they don't have I mean, I was amazed when Channel 4 did that documentary about the rape gangs and this victim stroke survivors, that it was so sympathetic to the girls. Because I just hear the word Channel 4 and hear that and I think, oh, they're bound to take the other side. They're publicly funded, but that's what it makes you feel. It's the same when you hear somebody's done something horrendous, driven into people. Your first thought is terrorism. Your second thought is it's Ali snack bar supporter. It's not right, but that's what happens because they don't tell you straight away. I still can't get over how there hasn't been more of a storm about Starmer not telling us about Southport, and innocent people amongst a lot of those people went to prison after that. We'll never see the likes of the men that joined up together from the towns and villages in World War One. They called them the old pals. Good point, Will Tompkins. Thank you very much. on YouTube. I'm going to pack up in a minute, but if anybody else wants to make a comment before I go, anybody else got a solution? Anybody else share my thoughts? Just agree with me or disagree with me that somehow we haven't created the world that these guys laid down their lives for. And then we have the commemoration / celebration yesterday, and that's going to go on for most of the week. And the BBC and people are sort of saying, well, then, yeah, because then after that, most of the guys will be dead, which is true. But what will we have to cling on to then? What will we have to be proud of? Because actually, again, it sounds old-fashioned, but it shouldn't do. I'm proud of the fact that we didn't give in to Hitler. They said that in this film last night as well. Other countries capitulated. I know it was different and I know it was complicated. But we said no. We and the Russians and the Yanks, no. And he never took us. We were massively outnumbered, weren't we? When he had all those planes waiting to come over, we fought back. Not just Dad's army, but you understand where I'm coming from. Whereas now, we can't stop 24 blokes in a life raft, dressed in head to toe designer Adidas and Nike gear. We can't stop them. Run this one past me again. We stopped the Third Reich, getting into our country, right? And have you ever read it's a brilliant book by Robert Harris, the guy who's just written the one about the papal thing? Oh, what's it called? He wrote one called Stalingrad, which is superb, but he also wrote this one. And it was imagining if Hitler had won. You've got to read it. It's a brilliant, brilliant book. Somebody will tell me what it's called in a minute. But it's that kind of thing. We didn't give in to it. Even though we had members of the royal family who were bloody fascists anyway. Like that idiot who went and lived in the other country, not Harry. That idiot with Mrs. Wallace. Do you understand what I'm saying? We didn't give in. In Cable Street, when Oswald Mosley and the rest of those black shirt fascist bastards were trying to attack Jews, we fought back, all of us. That's what our country does. And that's why I believe there has not been many or reprisal attacks. And that's why I laugh my fatherland. That's what it was called, Graeme Hatton. Thank you. He says, what's that book called, Fatherland? It was, Graeme. Thank you. Brilliant book. Brilliant writer. Anyway, what was I saying? That's why I don't think we have had lots of counterattacks onto innocent Muslims by the so-called far right. They talk about the far right, and obviously there are some people, and I want them investigated, found, put forward in front of a jury, and if necessary, sent to prison if they're doing what people are accusing them. But the idea that there's a whole load of far right people is nonsense. It's how you define far right. I don't think being in reform is far right, but if you believe a lot of Twitter at the moment, it is. They've all got Nigel Farage down as one step down from Hitler. Well, I've met him personally many times. I've never heard him say anything remotely racist. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I've had 3 people today calling me a racist for saying I believe that people who are in our country illegally should live in tents. I don't mean tents like Andrea Jenkins along the street. I mean army tents on disused airfields or wherever until we can assess them. I also think it's shocking that we haven't assessed them quick enough. But we have got to deter them from coming. And then people on X today saying, well, we shouldn't bomb their countries. Yes, but we haven't bombed all their countries, have we? And why didn't they stop at one of the countries on the way? What is it? And then we're meant to feel guilty. Put the horsehair shirt on because we're a terrible nation. No, we're not. Yes, we were involved in slavery, but we were the first to stop it. And yes, it was ridiculous that the slave owners got all the reparations. Of course it was, for losing their trade. Yeah, of course that was disgusting. But it was 100 or 200 years ago now. But I will not take that we're a racist nation. I said to this one guy today, see, but they're thick, these people. They don't understand. I looked him up. He's a humanist, right? He said it in his That doesn't mean he's funny. It means he doesn't believe in God. But anyway, he wrote in his bio that he was a humanist, but then he said that he was from Manchester. So I just put him on LinkedIn and found him. He's actually from a place called Sale. But he thinks he can go on to Twitter and from one thing I've said, call me a racist. It's the one thing that winds me up because I am not a bloody racist. I come from the two-tone city. I abhor racism. But I shouldn't have to defend myself. You shouldn't be able to just go around going, oh, you're racist, you're this, yeah? And then another one said, oh, and you look like a nonce. By that, I think he means a paedophile, right? I just think, no. We should weed these people out, yeah? Denise says, far right is anyone that doesn't agree with Starmer. I think you're right, Denise. Almost, that's the way it is. Or anyone who laughs. I mean, it's like to deny that Bernard Manning, I'm sorry, I'm off on one now. I knew I shouldn't have done this subject. Bernard Manning was one of the greatest ever gag tellers, right? His career was ruined by alternative comedians who couldn't deliver a pizza, let alone a punchline, right? Some of his jokes I didn't like. Some were off kilter, yes. Some you wouldn't do nowadays. But could he tell a bloody joke? Yes, he could. And did he use stock characters? Yes. Did Shakespeare? Yes. Did Chaucer? Yes. Because did Brian Ricks with the farces, the amorous secretary, trousers falling down, all the rest of it? Yes. Did the Carry On films? Yes. Is there not more important things to get worked up about? Yes. See where I'm coming from? So they've chipped away at everything that they think is wrong. And I'll tell you how bad it's got to. They've now got to Shakespeare. They've done all the popular stuff, like Love Thy Neighbour, even Alf Garnett, which was anti-racist. He was a Jewish guy, for God's sake. The whole idea of it was taking the mickey out of races. But anyway, so they do all that, and so now they're on to, you can't watch that. No, you can't read that book. You got to have a trigger warning on that play. King Lear, he's a bit dodgy, isn't he? What he wants to do to his three girls. It's just nonsense. Nonsense. And if you get upset in a play, that's good, isn't it? I thought it was called cathartic. I had this guy the other day said, I loved your plays when you wrote plays, but you've changed. Do you know what? I haven't. You just didn't understand them. My plays were about anarchy and nihilism and what's the point, right? They were funny. I gave up on drama because I couldn't be bothered with ticking all the boxes. My latest novel, somebody said, well, why don't you make him a black character? I said, because he isn't. He's a white guy from Birmingham. Couldn't he be black? I don't want to make him bloody black. Why not? What are you so wound up about, Jaunty? Well, because that's playing the game. That's tokenism. It's not where I want to be. My experience is of a white working class background. There are black people in it. There's black people in my bloody book. But I'm not going to do this. Tick that box. I might get an arts council grant. So this is where, in my opinion, we've lost ourselves. And I think you could probably think of loads of other examples as well. But I suppose I'm just making a plea to say these boys who laid down their lives, who came back with injuries that we can't even think about. It's just totally wrong that we have a country now where these boys in that picture, those boys walking, I bet every one of them would be up on a charge for something politically incorrect that they've done. I know times change. I know all that. But for God's sake, we've thrown out the baby with the bathwater. Britain has lost its way. I don't think it's just changed with the times. I don't think it's good that kids communicate by text all the time. I don't think it's good that kids in our education get taught that our history is something to be ashamed of. It's not. Let's talk about racism. Let's talk about filthy racism. No dogs, no Irish, no blacks, all that stuff. And put it and contextualize it. Let's do that. and say those things are wrong. But look at this. And let me also say, you can be British and not white. That's okay. Of course you can. I just think it's sad. I think it's really sad. I think it's tragic that a small number, it's a bit like the trans argument. The radical trans, not all of them, the radical trans, they're minute. But look at the massive influence. I mean, thank God for J.K. Rowling. I don't like the Harry Potters. I never did. And I think any adult reading one should have their hands chopped off, right? It's a kid's book. That said, I love her, the detective, the big tall guy with one leg. You know the guy I'm talking about. Oh, I used to be able to remember things I can't. Stripe, something like that. Something like that. Graeme will come back on in a minute and tell me. But anyway, I think that's brilliant. She is a good writer. But Harry Potter, no. But thank God she was willing to put her head above the parapet. And the geezer who wrote Father Ted. And said, no, this is comedy. This is whatever. No, enough of it. That's enough of that. Glyn Collis, we'll finish with this one, I think. No one's donated tonight. I must be crap. Never mind. Gaunt, rule Britannia, rule the waves. We can't even rule the English Channel. Yes, you are right. You're right. This is a nice one. I think you made a mistake. Keir Starmer wants to force constipation for poor people. If that's a joke, it's very clever. But I think it's meant to be conscription. It's a typo. We all make them. Don't worry about it, my friend. Thank you for your comment. Is Britain great? Can we make Britain great again? Did these boys lay down their lives for the kind of world we live in now? Anyway, I must go. Got AI to do. Got a few texts I need to... Yeah, we're all part of it. We're all part of this problem, aren't we? I think those two pictures are great. They just says so much about how we are now and how they were then, those boys. And women, of course, lots of women involved in the war effort as well, doing the jobs that the lads had left behind. Would people do that now? Ah, I knew you'd tell me, Graeme. I'm glad you're there. You're my official researcher. I tell you what you like, Graeme. You're like that Susie Dent in Dictionary Corner on Countdown. Not count. Not count. Yes, it is Countdown. That detective, Gaunty, is Cormoran Strike. Yes, I'm a bit of a bookworm. You certainly are, my friend. I'll tell you what. Absolutely brilliant. And I've read the books. The books are as good, if not better, than the TV series. But I do love the TV series. What's she called? She's the actress in that. She's called something like Holiday or Christmas, or she's got a name like that. Anyway, I think she's great. And I think he's brilliant. All right, I finished. Back tomorrow with another show. Hope you can join in. If I get angry in the morning, I might do another one. You're getting it all for free unless you've contributed. Done 2 shows today. So if you missed the other one, I did it earlier today and it went to storm. It's all up now on social media. So if you want to find it, you can find it. I can't remember what it was about. It seems like an age ago. Oh, it was about Starmer. Starmer's U-turn now. He reckons he might do a U-turn on winter fuel allowance. You couldn't make it up, could you? So I've done a great one on that. Lots of contributions. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. So what I'm doing now, because I've got me mojo back and because I've got everything in place, if I want to do one, I'm just doing one. All right? So keep a lookout for that. And if you want to make sure you never miss a show, press the bell button or press the subscribe. Then what happens is when I write the blurb to say what I'm going to talk about in the next show, it goes to you. So you know it'll be on and you won't miss one of the shows. Don't forget, you can catch up with all the shows just by going to Jon Gaunt TV. And if you subscribe to that, which is free on YouTube, that'd be good. But also you can get it on podcasts as well. And I'm amazed by how many people are still listening just to the audio podcasts. And a lot of people listen to the audio afterwards when they're walking the dog. I feel sorry for the dog, to be honest with you, but there we are. And thank you for everything you've done, all the people you've talked about this show and all the donations. That's great as well. But the best thing you can do is tell people Gaunty's back. and I'm listening to him or I'm watching him and I'm loving it, or he annoys me, whatever. Yeah, whatever you want to say. I don't care what you say, as long as you're talking about me, really. Because as long as you also realise I only say what I believe. I'm never the devil's advocate. I only say what I truly believe, unlike most talk presenters. That's probably why I got no money, I ain't got a job, and I'm having to do this and beg for money from www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or do it on YouTube, whichever way you want to do it. Just do it. I'll see you tomorrow. All the best. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug, and don't forget to tell them you love them. And don't forget also, Britain is still a great, great country. Thanks a lot. Bye.